So right now I am streaming in 4K HDR at 60 frames per second. So if you compare that to the closest competitor, I think Awkward right now streams regularly at 30 frames per second in 1080p with a high bit rate. So the reason that's important is because at lower bit rates, you can't actually see what's happening on the screen, not really. So it's hard to follow along and see how much accuracy this player might be hitting. And even if they aren't being accurate, it's harder to see certain things that actually take place on screen, such as quick flicks and things like that on PC, because 30 frames per second is just not enough to really capture as much info as the players that are in the game are getting. So I'm just going to start this ranked game. It'll be a little bit of a warm-up for me. I actually haven't played on this monitor yet, so this will be a first. I'll talk through what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing, and then I'll get back to tips and tricks, especially related to settings for those of you that are either console or PC. So they have a cast, they have a Reaper as well. Cast went left side, but I'm gonna charge that, not while he's. So doing some reload animation cancels, I'll show you how to do those later on Soldier 76. For now, just trying to find a fit. Reaper's pretty low. I don't see the... Yeah, Castle's in the back there. That lamp is huge. Kind of in a tough spot if we don't get a pick finally here. I'm going to try to change angles. The Mercy just shreds him, unfortunately. And Jude could have killed me except in that pack. Okay, we did it. Nice. So pretty well played by the rest of my team there. And I personally don't have an issue with pushing up this far as long as you're early enough on the regroup phase. I like the extra damage, and it's hard to get punished by it unless you run into the wall and get it. So it happens. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that sign there. I think it's destructible, but I could be wrong. They pretty much cost us the fight there, unfortunately. Open my Mercy to get back to play. Yeah, that's a pick. And if we can maybe even get the kill on the res on that fight. So I just did my Visor there because it was empty. And that's probably necessary. Where did Reaper go? There he is. I need to kill him now. He got out. That sucks. He's gonna ult. Some help. Hopefully I get a pick here. I didn't mean to ping there. Very low. Hopefully that fast kills me. I probably shouldn't have peeked as much as I did while I was stuck. There we go. So on console you can see that, like, if you have the right settings and a good controller and you're used to your sensitivity, it will really do the aiming for you. A lot of the shots that I'm hitting are not necessarily difficult tracking shots, but it's made even less difficult by the fact that, like, some of these reactions would have been impossible on PC. I did not mean to stay in that orb as long as I did. That was a good rotate by Reaper.
They'll regret that.
And as far as how long these streams will go, oh, actually, this is going to be kind of a tough spot for us. I'm going to farm some ult cards off the skip. I don't want to charge that, but she's pushing it so far. So that was a little bit of mirroring to make the shots easier. And I love doing mirroring against someone like Sylvan because I know that it doesn't help her in that particular engagement because she's projectile. So if she mirrors me, he's gonna have trouble making those shots. I'm gonna visor here just for some extra pressure. Is it? No, but I hope so. Is visor? Yeah, I let that happen. And I couldn't get it. It happens. Partly just because I'm talking, but... So anyway, on visor usage, if you play 76, there's, you know, you either fall in one or two camps. Either you like saving your ult for the best time, or you just throw it, you know, as soon as you need an extra mag. That's me. I try to throw it if at all possible. But this should be one easily. Yeah. So well done. Pretty good game all around.
Score 1-0.
But yeah, as Soldier 76, it kind of depends on what you need for the game. But in general, I throw my visor as soon as I possibly need it. And you'll see me probably... That'll result in some bad visors at times. Like, I try to avoid throwing it right before I know I'm going to die. But I'm not afraid to throw it if there's a chance that the extra ammo and reload time will make me live.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, so here I always go right side on this control room. I go right side, and I want to hold this head glitch, because I get to see point, get to see everyone up here going in main, which is where they should go if they want to win the map. Oh, my bad, guys. I feel responsible for that. That's on me. I'm pretty killable. That was clutch with my Zara right there. Soldier can die. I ate that helix just because I wanted to see if we could get the hit on the Soldier. I gotta be careful not to hit Genji while my teammates are low. Reflecting. Oh, Soldier just walked into that. That's unfortunate for him. Because I was actually going for the Moira back there. Tank is killable, but Moira is pretty killable. I did not hit my shot very well there. Good go. Alright, with no deflect, Genji should die there. Yeah, you guys lined up. I walked too forward while I was checking. So I don't see any swap except for the Mercy to Ana swap. And that's one tip that I can say is like, okay, this is very much stacking. You don't really want to do this. I get this bad habit from open queue, where it's okay to stand behind everyone because everyone's immortal in open queue. But this is not what you want to do. In general, I want to get this visor before Genji Blade.
I've got you in my sights.
That was actually a weird animation because I think I could actually see him. He's still there, I know he is. I don't know where he went actually, I don't see what happened there. So, what I did just there with the Soldier, trying to find him, is something that I see a lot of newer players do, or fail to do, which is just like, you know you saw that. You know you saw him go there. You didn't get any extra info, so he must still be there. And you should treat it like he's still there. But object permanence, I hope I can't use this rotation. I missed that. Yeah, let's do that. We can finish. Oh, that's tough. We did get the kill on the Soldier, but not fast enough for it to finish the fight. That was my bad. I should have killed him right there. But yeah, with a full charge Zarya, I was being irresponsible as a DPS to be that close to everyone. Shouldn't have done that either, but I'm giving everybody the damage they are wanting right now. I don't want to go through that broker. I just feel like it's bad practice for me. It's a long rotate for me to go around, but in general, we're going to force out their ult. That blade... There's a mini over here. Go here. That point. Genji might die. That was on me. That's an unfortunate stagger. I mean, I got the kill on the Ana. I should have just run back to my team and cut my losses.
I rub some dirt on it.
Because now Ana's back before I am. And I didn't really put anyone low enough to get picked off when my team left there. I'm gonna fight in tree right now. Yeah, that's a good pick. I think that should be enough to win this game for us. I'm gonna visor now because I can't shoot anything else. I thought he went behind me, but I think I missed something. Yeah, that should be game dead. Somebody's shooting him back. Good matrix by Diva. We need that cap. And they will have time to touch. They're gonna have nothing from Sim. So like when you have point like this, you really just want to count on them having to walk forward and keep your distance and take height. Like all of my team being on point there is mostly just because they're close range and because maybe because they're a little bit irresponsible, but that's the unfortunate thing about consoles, that sometimes people play suboptimally even at high ranks, and it makes you think that maybe that's how you should be playing, and that's usually not the case. So as far as timing for this stream goes and how long we'll keep going for, it's really just going to come down to how long do I have content for this stream. So if I'm still able to think of, what we want, what might be helpful for y'all, then I'll keep going, and when we run out, we'll pause and I'll just pick up the next stream. I'm going to take a second to check the quality of the stream and just make sure that everything is coming through all right. It looks like it is, but just because this is the first time I've really set something up like this, I want to make sure that it's all going well. And how's the audio sound? They'll let me know if you can hear me all right. Okay, yeah, it looks good. And I apologize in advance if you hear some of the, the audio in the background there. That won't usually happen, but just this time I'm getting things set up and want to just make sure that I don't go on a 3-hour stream and end up without any content to show for it. So I'm gonna keep queuing damage. That's my main role, and I normally play a lot of open queue when I'm practicing. Why? Mostly because I find it to be challenging in a lot of the ways that that difficult soldier metas are challenging, which is when sustain is really, really strong, soldier really, really struggles. And this season too, especially, soldier is kind of hard to work with because sustain is strong, especially on tank. But in goats or in open queue, it's extremely slanted that way. Like if you haven't checked the open queue leaderboard, it is almost entirely tanks. And so I practice in open queue because it gives you a chance to practice anti-dive as soldier, which is really, really important, and a chance to make sure that your kills on the squishies, which in open queue is always supports, they have to be really, really surgical. And not only that, but they have to be your uptime has to be really high but really safe. I heard some sort of sound in the background, but not sure what that was. I hope the stream is still working fine. So while we're in queue here, I promised some tips and tricks. So that's what you will get in this live. So I'll give you tips in order of specificity. So I'll start with the settings and tips that I know for any player that applies to anyone, whether you're console or PC. And then we'll get into the console specific settings, and that's going to be really helpful because a lot of y'all are not using the right settings for your aim assist to kick in properly. And the other top 500 console players that make videos on this are mostly going on feel without really being able to explain to you what each setting is doing. So I'll try to explain in depth what those settings are doing so that you can understand not only what is optimal for me, but what's going to be optimal for you and what you're trying to do and the characters that you like to play, rather than just take my advice blindly. Settings might occupy the majority of this stream, but eventually I hope to get to explain everything from your optimal setup. Where should you spend your money if you have extra money to spend and you want to improve your performance in game? Should you buy a controller or a monitor next? All of those things, as well as we're going to get into eventually really technical specs for PlayStation and Xbox specific settings as well. And I'll talk about HDR, whether it's good, if you should use it or not, and if so, how, what settings to use.
Select your hero.
So I hope to get into that at some point. We'll also talk not only gear, but what kind of gear you should use, but also I've studied and used different nootropics. So what should you use if you're looking for a tier list of energy drinks? Which ones are good for gaming? Which ones are not? I'll talk about some of that.
Needs a cause.
And then things like does exercise really affect how you play, if you play well or not? And things like lighting, as well as diet and sleep schedule, all of that definitely plays a part if you're trying to get serious in comp.
5, 4, 3.
So we'll get into all of that later.
1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
Check your corners out there.
So this map sucks for Soldier. I just have no other way of putting it. So I'm gonna go right side because that's the only real good option for Soldier 76. Oh, that's terrible. I got distracted because I saw that Soldier killable and I just got one shot basically. Yeah, that's so tough. Unlucky because I didn't need to be exposed there. If I had either been stepping forward or stepping back, no way he would have seen me or even known exactly which side I was on necessarily. Oh, I thought we was one. A little bit of bad accuracy there, but this is a really surgical angle, chance to get a really good pick. I think Soldier is flanking me, but I didn't see. I think he's on my right, so I'm just trying to throw him off. Yeah, there he is. Oh, I missed my helix though, and he has a Fury Pocket. That's gonna suck. So that's a common challenge for me, but I'm sure you've run into it, where you get some information, but you don't exactly know what to do with it. And I knew I had a plan to fight the Soldier, but I probably should have used that information to say, this is no longer safe, let me change angles. But didn't let me. He's still under there. Soldier's dead at least. We lost 2 just now, and I think we're already down 1 even before that. So I'm gonna move back, try to get some poke. I need poke, not combat, this is bad. Am I free? Yeah, that's good. Okay, so their tank is overly aggressive here. He dies. Fury dies if you're lucky healer. I thought there was an Ana up here though. No, it's a Fury. Oh shoot, I just need a little here. So like I gave up on shooting at Cass there because he was gonna die, and the less I peek him, the lower chance there is that he bursts. So this guy doesn't have ult, so he's too far up. He's dead. He should die. Well done by the Ana. You need to get that sleep to really finish that kill easily. I know the cast is on the left. Yeah, he should die. I lost LOS, and I could have shot him from under bridge. I probably should have tried to. But it's like, those types of things happen. You want to be visualizing what you would do, and then quickly move on. It's even harder to move on from those types of things. Oh no, I knew he was there. I'm gonna run. Yeah, that was the right call, I think. Because the only real threat, aim assist is getting yoinked all over the place. The only real, oh, I'm so at risk of dying. That's crazy. I needed to duck. I was spamming it, but didn't duck in time. It's really often that you have to assess, what is this player threatening? Are they threatening my team? And in that case, sometimes it's okay to take the duel. But in this situation, the cast was only threatening me. Or the ball, the wrecking ball was only threatening me. So it's like, I'm gonna, it's bad, we don't have enough up. He's running out of items. They have to be on right? Oh, but I should have picked a better line of sight so that my support could help me. That was totally my bad. Like, that's not my Anna's fault there. They were there, and I didn't know she was there, but I could have known that that's the only place that she could be, that she was respawning previously. So I'm gonna go. Oh, he got big. That's terrible. So I gotta. That's unfortunate. That was again another one where it's more likely for my Ana to see me or hit me in doorway and even moving the opposite way, not toward our spawn, but up those stairs. Okay, so I hope he don't do later. Smash because of my mistakes here. I need to get a clutch visor, but I can't go through minefield. So maybe I touch. Oh no, that's terrible. I anti-clutch that was a joke. And Lariki is back, unfortunately. That is so on me that we lost that 4v5.
Get away with this.
It should have been much less close than it was. But that's okay. Y'all saw me open settings there. I just need to be careful with that. I don't know if you can't see it, but on my controller there's a start button which I use. I don't use at all, but if I press my visor and ult at the same time like this, it triggers not visor and ult. If I press Y and X at the same time, it triggers my heal station and then my ult. But if I accidentally let my finger slip, it'll hit the settings button and screw me over a bit there. That was so easily winnable round. So what do they have? Still a ball? Probably soldier still, I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's just a mistake. That was a direct hit, actually. Oh, this here to die. Soldier can't do anything because of the angle, which is really important for him. The cast really hit all his shots. I'm gonna watch this. Yeah, I mean, that was me being not unpredictable with my movement because he didn't really have to predict, but I should have been ducking once I knew that he was there. I think he did it before I even reacted. So I know that he's there, and that's tough. Yeah. I didn't see that coming, but I will next time.
I've seen tougher spots.
Yeah, this ball should die.
Everyone heal up.
So we want to push the aggression here, but we don't want to do so at a excess pace because we're going to win this fight. It's like, it's guaranteed unless somebody does something stupid. So there, I want to get eyes on this ball because the soldier is in a non-aggressive spot. He can't threaten anybody that's killing his tank right now. So I'm tempted to go shoot him, but I shouldn't because he's not threatening my team or myself. Which he was. Oh yeah, he said I still got it, which I think means he got a kill.
Fields online.
This is gonna be a tough duel for me if they all push me. So I'm just gonna get out. Oh, he's pushing me still. I'm gonna switch angles. Have a full mag. Oh, we got so much on us. I wanted to visor that. Oh man. I think that was Lucio Boop. I wanted to visor there, but then they got our tank off. That happens.
I rub some dirt on it. Let's go.
So now that I know where the cast is, I can vary my movement to not have to worry about when I'm crouching. I'm gonna visor this. Oh, he had a better visor than I did. Oh, that's all I can do. I farmed a little bit of ult charge there. I don't know if it even gave it to me, to be honest. I thought I hit a helix there, but maybe I didn't.
Still got some fight.
When you know you're gonna die, throw your splash damage if you're up next to a bunch of people. That's well done on our team's part. Good swap on the charge. I just didn't want to get booped, so I didn't want to go out that other doorway. Oh, there's the Lucio. Okay, so they have to come back from here, and I beat Cass's fall off range right now. But now he's gonna walk up here, I'm pretty sure.
Over there.
There's Tank. Oh shoot, that tank is killable. Not anymore, unfortunately, with that ult. Still kill him. So that'll be a game if we don't get a pick. I think it's just me now. So they'll reset. That's unfortunate. So not my best game, but it happens. A lot of deaths there is what cost us, and most of my deaths were from just talking a little bit too much.
Play of the game.
What was... Oh, I took it off for this stream. We're playing...
Adaptive circuits engaged. Wrecking ball.
I'm playing, in some sort of, like, Central America server. Which is... Donnie, if Soldier is picked, I like to go either Bastion or Cassidy. And that's not because I'm particularly good at either of those, but it's because I want to pick a character that is similar in play style. So, you know, people specialize in either projectile and hits or hit scan at the highest level. And I've tried to break it down because of the similarity in aiming technique between Soldier and Bastion. I can excel a lot faster if I'm playing, you know, the two of them. So I'm gonna hop in an open queue game and show you an example of what one of those looks like, and just kind of contrast the difference between the two. But yeah, when it comes to support as well, I play Baptiste because his aiming technique is also tracking hit scan, and obviously Malga on tank because, again, the aim technique is very similar. One of the reasons that that's so important to keep your
Double kill.
your character aim styles the same if you're trying to improve rapidly, is that especially on console, you'll have to change your aim assist window size accordingly based on if you're pinpoint or projectile or some variation of hit scan that has some amount of spread that you don't want to always be completely on target. So in open queue, usually, especially right now, you get flamed for picking DPS, and my team might actually kind of throw and just select DPS as well. Looks like we've got a pretty legit comp, and for push maps, it's not that bad. But yeah, I wanted to get into settings more, but we've had pretty quick few times today.
I have heard of your experiments. There is no
Someone's asking for charge.
Shimada, where do I know that name?
So this will be much, well, it's pushed, so there won't be as many chokes,
Family of criminals.
but there will be a lot more sustain.
3, 2, 1.
You'll notice that the general skill of players at this rank it should be a lot less than what you just watched.
Sniper. Biotics deployed.
That's on me. They're running a lot more DPS than as usual, so I should have checked comp before then. But they've got May Widow. They're probably just gonna lose because they don't have any tanks on their side.
Robot is ours. Let's go.
Even their tank isn't really a tank. Which is unfortunate for me because I'm not getting good practice by so Mercy wants that kill. She shouldn't get it if I'm accurate enough. Yeah, she got shot by her Hanzo. So I really wanted to block him from getting that big. Sometimes you have to be careful there because the server, depending on how much desync you have or your opponent has, you might think that you're going to block them, but it just gave it to them and you didn't even see them touch big time. And that's just because their client saw them step on it. Their computer saw, or their Xbox or PlayStation saw them step on it before you did. So it looks like I'm kind of mindlessly just shooting here, and that's sort of true. But it's also sort of my role in open queue is to deal sustained damage for a long amount of time. And I was not doing a great job of being responsible there. I could have been much safer. That's on me. So crouch spamming versus Reaper is good, especially if you can get the cadence right. I want to see how these crouches. Yeah, I made him miss at least one just from the crouch.
Knock me down and I'll keep getting back up.
But in this comp, they added a tank. Oh, I thought that he was so I didn't. I'm gonna bite with this.
You in my sights. That warms the boat. Escorting the robot.
Let us proceed.
Got eyes on
Okay, now they have 3 tanks. I'm willing to bet they're gonna swap the 2 supports. They're probably talking in chat about how Reaper should swap. That's just the way of open queue right now. And I don't think it's wrong, it's just unfortunate that open queue is so damn, you know, slanted. Oh, good pick. If I do say so myself. I needed to hit him. That was clutch. Okay, we can get this kill, but I need to not get axed to do it, so that's not gonna work. And our Moira wasn't wrong for leaving. I don't blame her. I should have too. I thought that they didn't have the Czar on us, but that was a miscalculation on my part.
Still got some fight in me.
For the reckoning.
Enemy located.
We must stop their network.
Oh, that was too aggro. I should have left. She almost got me. So
Огонь по готовности.
we should be
My
down a lot more
willpower
than
is
this.
burning.
Not production. I wasn't counting. Our team is, I think it's gonna die. Unfortunately, that was a good night. Diva's OP right now. I should have been further away from it. That is a just. She didn't play that right. Diva could have killed me there.
Feed that robot back. Pronto.
If I can do this, I think it should work. Yeah, it was dangerous. I died there. I kind of knew it after I had missed the shot. Let me see if there's any way I could have lived this. Yeah, I mean, if I just ran, I felt it was better to trade. Because I think she popped ult earlier. But if I wanted to live, I would either have to rocket jump onto bridge to work or run around it.
I see a
So
hostile.
spam jumping is not good on most characters at most times. But you'll notice that I do actually spam jump similar to other people that are other streamers like Metro. She's really gonna after me. They'll spam jump because they're former Counter-Strike players. But the reason that I spam jump on the way back is you'll notice when I'm going upstairs, it actually will make you go faster as you're going up a ramp or upstairs. I need to get back even more. We're getting more space because they have a more tanky comp. And you've seen, like, I haven't done nothing, but I've done nothing impactful. Oh, I gotta get some space. She could die here. I think I missed my shots, and she lives. That's unfortunate. An extra melee there would have been good, but I got instant spawn. So anyway, that's a tip. Always press jump when you're walking upstairs. I need to get more distance. That was close. I could have had that kill if I was a little more aware.
Redeploying.
Enemy located.
Witness the flame of my soul.
Okay, Diva's flanking. I just have to ping it, and then they'll flip it. I'm actually in a really good spot. I didn't expect her to go that way, but yeah, I guess she has to. I should have. She goes big. Oh, I hope my Moira came with me. I assumed she was going to, but that's probably a mistake on my part. Jumping on Diva is OP, by the way. Maybe not OP enough. She will be frustrated with this. Oh no! That was so close. Yeah. She only killed me because my movement was so predictable. I didn't think she would hit headshots like that, but I should have thrown in some evasive maneuvers because it would have been totally doable. I should have started first. That was okay, Reaper got greedy. He probably could have had that kill if it was headshots. I don't play Reaper, but so that's aim assist for you. The weaker hitboxes, like Liliana's, are incredibly easy to track. I think because there's no missing space in it. Oh, that's good. I decided to ping because I know he's going to hold to be mad. this rank, and even just at any rank on console, turning around takes two. And I've asked the devs to increase the max turn speed, and I think they will eventually. The only reason they didn't before was because Zim was extremely OP, and everyone was using it. Which, if you don't know what a Zim is, it's... I shouldn't be taking this duel. This is yeah, Zim is using a mouse and keyboard on console.
Over here.
Oh, there's another one, or is that Diva? I'm flipping. That's Diva. He can ult if he has it, which surely he does. Oh wow, he was gonna throw it there. This is a unnecessary visor, but we have 21 seconds left, so
Escorting the robot.
it's okay with me. Oh, I can't believe I might die here. That's my bad. I need to be back up there.
10 seconds remaining.
That was, can you touch there? So, they have the touch point here. So, even though it was already, the game was won by that point. Because they have the touch point, I get to not have the touch point at all. So, you really need to be taking advantage of that when you're on
The game.
defense, or in a defensive state, regardless of the game mode. If they have to touch point and you don't, definitely don't be on it. Be in the, you know, the most advantageous spot where they have to put their back to you on their way to point. All right. I might have a crew coming together here in a second, so I may join them for some games. I am going to show some settings, and then probably call it there for this stream, and then I'll be back with some info for console specific players as well as Xbox specific settings, and then in future streams I'll talk about all the stuff that I mentioned at the beginning here. So, before hopping into another one, well, actually, let's do this. I'll start in practice range, and I'll just go through the recommended settings page by page, where applicable to everyone. So, if you're on console or PC, it doesn't really matter. You want to optimize for the fastest frames that you can get. You don't care about resolution until you're maxed out on the refresh rate of your monitor. So if your monitor is 60 hertz, then okay, maybe you can consider a different option. But if your monitor is 120 hertz, you need to go up to the frame rate option, because that's going to give you less input latency and basically means you're going to be reacting faster to everything. It's pretty straightforward there. Frames win games. The one other thing that I would say is my recommendation is actually to use frame rate no matter what resolution or refresh rate your monitor supports. So even if you have a 30 hertz monitor or a 60 hertz monitor, you should still be using the frame rate mode if your console supports it. And that's I think any of the next gen or close to next gen Xbox consoles, and probably some of the older PS consoles as well. So if you have an Xbox Series S, enable frame rate no matter what, because your input latency will be on average lower even if your total frames are still 60 FPS. So running the game at a higher frames per second than your monitor supports is like, it's inefficient But if the console supports it, then the console supports it, and you can use that in efficiency. You're not going to care about the power savings that you would have because it'll cost you games that way. So console doesn't have a lot of settings aside from that. One thing I do know is that don't use this gamma correction at all. Oh, that's really strange. I'm going to revert these changes. I don't know why it... That's probably a bug. That as soon as I change this even a little bit, it freezes and locks me out of it. But do not change the contrast or the brightness or the gamma correction within the game here. I would do that in your monitor settings or in your graphics card settings or your console settings, if necessary at all. And if absolutely possible, I don't know what the architecture of the Xbox or PlayStation systems is, but I don't recommend doing them. There's a video on YouTube, maybe I'll find it and link it. I probably won't because it's too much work. But he showed that there is a bug where you'll start to get significant frame drops. Like one frame drop every, I think it was every second. Well, not one frame drop, but one instance of stuttering every second, where it would be steady for the second and then drop at the end and then steady. But the point being, there was some sort of bug where it decreased the consistency of your frames by a significant amount when you were using these in-game settings. So probably a bug, might even be fixed by now, but I just don't mess with this stuff because it's hard to test what your frames are actually doing on console. Okay, so in sound, I recommend you keep music off because it'll trigger that super suspenseful and stressful music in-game at the very most important portions of the game, like at the end, if you have music on. In-game voice volume and sound effects, keep those on to some degree. I like the play sound when teammate eliminated and enemy eliminated. Or I like that to be on, but you actually have to start training yourself to hear the didong, didong sounds and recognize how many those are indicating. If you've just lost your third or your fourth or even your, really just your fourth teammate, because if you lost your fifth, that's you, so you don't have to worry about that. But point being, I like these on. I actually think it's meta. I haven't heard a good argument for why you would keep it off, but some people do. I don't recommend that. Keep them on. On your audio mix, I'm still playing around with this. It's really hard to decide which one is the best. I don't like studio reference because it feels like sounds get muffled. Something to do with the way that it's mixed, probably related to the bitrate and the way that the audio is recorded is my digital to analog converter that's built into my monitor is probably not equipped to handle it. So maybe if you have a really high fidelity one, you could try it, but I don't recommend studio reference. It's kind of janky. Soundbar, television, night mode, even home theater, they're pretty good. I don't recommend handheld, and I don't actually like headphones, even for headphones, because it just boosts the bass and makes it really hard to hear anything aside from the bass sounds. Night mode is pretty good, especially if you just want to hear louder footsteps. I find it to be kind of hard to pinpoint exact locations, and that's why I'm playing around with it. But I also use DTS X for headphones, which is an audio codec. So maybe give those settings a try. On the voice chat settings, I don't think you need to change anything. Make sure your mic volume is up. Voice, I'm gonna skip that because there's not much there. So I mentioned that I would go through the settings that apply to everyone, and next stream I'll talk about the settings that apply to you if you're on if you're on console specifically. So under hero and HUD, I like allied health bars to be on contextual, meaning if they're not showing there, then they're full health for support players. And I think it does the same for anyone else as well, even as DPS. So that's what I recommend. I think it's definitely best there. I have show friendly outlines always, just because I think it's better than keeping it on occluded, which I think is the default. it gets very hard to see your teammates even when they're right in front of your face if you don't have that outline on. These are probably fine. You could probably disable the kill effect if it's demoralizing. For the reticle, okay, here's why I use a reticle like this instead of just a tiny dot. Because I need a dot in the center of my screen that's small enough to use a pinpoint projectile to hit someone on the head from 50 meters away. So, or a pinpoint hit scan. So that's really necessary. But if I just have this tiny dot on my screen, I can't see it with my peripheral when I'm trying to take into account the whole screen. So let's say I'm fighting a Zarya who's really up close, and she may have a Kiriko next to her. Well, that's going to be a real problem if I have to be looking at her head in order to make sure that I'm hitting her in the head. So I need to be able to gauge where my bullets are going to go with just not my peripheral vision, but just with my less focused vision or attention. So that's what I do for my HUD. Nothing real notable in the rest of the settings there. Definitely don't turn these two on. You do not want to limit your client or your server send rate. It's nothing but trouble there. I mean, I guess you could, if you want to force desync. Maybe I'll do some testing on this, and then I'll let you all know. For the kill feed, you want all of this on, and you want to make sure that always skip kill cam is off, because the kill cam has valuable information. You want to choose whether you skip it or not. I like to keep the player outline and ability timer ring opacity at 100% so that I can see those with my peripheral. The ability ring that shows up in the middle.
Yeah.